Welcome back to Music Kingdom. This channel has had quite the journey of exploration regarding the metal genre, and I've always done my best to at least have some extent of variety, whether that means reviewing Metallica, Iron Maiden, Pantera, Tool, Black Sabbath, Nightwish, Opeth, Dream Theater, probably even more than that I can't remember in the moment. And so, in the spirit of variety, in this video we will be listening to, giving a music theory breakdown for, and blindly reviewing Freak On A Leash by Korn. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, my name is Francis. If you are a fellow nerd for music, such as myself, and you appreciate not just reactions but in-depth reviews and analysis of songs, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you'd like to support the work I put into these videos, you'll find various links in the description below. Alright, now before we give the song a listen, first let's briefly talk Freak On A Leash by Korn. Freak On A Leash is from Korn's third studio album titled Follow the Leader, released in 1998. Follow the Leader peaked at #1 on 4 different charts, including the Billboard 200, with 268,000 units sold in its first week of release. It is the band's most commercially successful album, being certified 5 times platinum by the RIAA. After Follow the Leader's release, Freak On A Leash was released as a single in '99, and since then it has been re-released over 10 times. Freak On A Leash also won 6 awards and was nominated 17 times, winning 2 MTV Music Awards, 1 Billboard Music Award, 1 Grammy Award, and 1 Metal's Edge Reader's Choice Award. Regarding the song itself, lead singer John Davis wrote the lyrics about the music industry, which he compares to an owner walking a dog. While he's this freak being paraded around, corporate America is making all the money, and it's taking a part of him. It's a song that kicks against the music industry's ill treatments of artists and being treated like a prostitute by corporate America. Other important context worth mentioning is that while Korn isn't solely responsible for pioneering the subgenre called nu metal, songs like Smile from '94 and a song like this most certainly were big contributors. So just personally speaking, me being the music geek that I am, I always find it cool to highlight certain historical facts of that nature. Alright, with that all out of the way, at long last it's finally time we give the song a listen, and just a heads up, I will be pausing a couple times to share my thoughts, but ultimately to avoid any potential copyright strikes. And of course, as always, be sure to stick around after the song for a music theory breakdown from our expert, and then we're going to divide the song into specific categories, grading them each, averaging them out, and arriving at an overall score. Right to it. I love the drumming. I almost want to call it a beat because it reminds me kind of hip-hop as opposed to just traditional drumming. Either way.
Something takes a part of me, something lost and never seen. Every time I start to believe, something's raped and taken from me, from me.
Well written.
Life's gotta always be messing with me. Can't it chill and let me be free?
Very well.
Can't I take away all this pain? I try to every night, all in vain, in vain. Sometimes I cannot take this.
What a nice transition.
Sometimes it's my life I can't taste. Sometimes I cannot feel my face.
Very well produced for its genre.
See me fall from grace.
Change up the drums. It really is like a beat, you know? Thoughts so far, okay. While I am newer to the overall umbrella genre of metal, and of course other subgenres such as nu metal, at this point in the journey of this channel, to some extent at least, I feel like I know what to expect. And what I will say about this, at least so far, is I was not expecting a certain degree of artistry, of creativity, which already, as early in the song as we are, is evident. Aside from that, I realize there is a lot of song left, but what has caught my attention thus far is how well written it is. Personally speaking, I've always been a bit of a sucker for lyrics that are anti-corruption or anti-music industry. So with this one, even though it's more of a metaphor as opposed to being on the nose or literal, still really hits that sweet spot for me. Otherwise, I am very intrigued and interested to see where the song is going.
Feeling like a freak on a leash.
This is so well done.
Like I have no release.
I mean, I wasn't expecting it not to be, but it's better than I was, I guess, anticipating. Vocals though, but that's not the point.
Sometimes I cannot take this place. Sometimes it's my life I can taste.
Interesting chords as well.
I cannot feel my face. You'll never see me far from grace. Something takes a bite.
It's excellent at keeping you engaged. There's always something happening. Very creative. Thoughts at this point of the song, definitely more fun than I was anticipating as well. And fun might not be the right word because I do take it very seriously, but just engaging, interesting, dynamic, intentional. Again, while I am newer to the genre overall, and of course the subgenre, even still, a lot of what I've heard is very, not redundant, but predictable, whereas this song, while yes, repetitive as most music is to some extent, is just very different and fun, as I mentioned. I love the originality, I love the transitions, the writing is great, the production is exquisite, and I am very excited to see how it concludes. Oh my god! Oh my god! What a production! Like, this is exactly what I think of when I think of a great production. It's something like this. Oh! Holy shit! Not expecting this. Holy shit. I was expecting it to be good, but this is great. Sound effects. Subjectively, I genuinely enjoyed that. Alright, initial thoughts before we go to the expert's corner and before grading the song. Holy shit, what a conclusion. And not just the conclusion, but like the latter half of the song. I was already enjoying it to begin with, but then it just went to a different place. And they really flexed their artistry, their production savvy. I mean, damn. As mentioned, I genuinely subjectively enjoyed the song, and what I mean by that is I review a lot of truly great songs on this channel, but a lot of them are more objectively great and not necessarily something that I might personally just really like. Whereas with this one, subjectively speaking, a lot of different elements of it are just so up my alley, which makes me very excited to eventually break it apart and give it a score. But before I can do that, and while I get the wheels turning, first let's go to the expert's corner for a music theory breakdown and to see how he grades the song's composition.
Welcome to the Expert's Corner. This is Freak On A Leash by Korn, and I'm here to give it a composition score. This one's in the time signature of 4/4, and it's in the key of what I would say is D major. However, later on in the song, there's bits where it sounds like it's in A major. And then there's a bit where it sounds like it's in some form of B, not sure if major or minor because it's all power chords by that point. But for the starting key, we'll go with D major. So today this song took my Korn virginity, which is a weird sentence, but that's what happened. It's the first Korn song I've ever heard, and I had no idea what to expect, and I found the composition to be really good. I noticed a recurring thing that happens throughout the song, and that's that they use a lot of chromatic melodies, chromatic progressions even. Chromatic means that it's just two notes that are right next to each other, like D and E flat. So at the beginning of the song, the riff in the electric guitar goes, these two right next to each other. It's kind of unusual to hear in most music, and it's just a little dissonant, and I think it's cool. And again, later on in the song, in what I would call probably the chorus, they have this bit that sounds like... And what gives that such a distinct feel is that chromatic, these notes that are right next to each other. Those are all just half steps apart from each other. And then again, later towards the end, you have just this chromatic walk up. Now, admittedly, I'm not a metalhead. I don't listen to much metal beyond what we do here on this channel, but I don't hear chromatic stuff like that very often in most other music. Maybe it's super common in metal music, but it stood out to me in this song specifically, and I thought it was at least worth mentioning. That aside though, I think this song does a lot of really cool things. All of the progressions are progressions that I wasn't expecting to hear when I put the song on. There's lots of songs out there where you can kind of bullshit your way humming through it because you can kind of guess what's about to happen, but in this one, there's no chance in hell of that happening. It goes to so many places and in what feels like so many different keys, so many different moods, and it gets some major points for that. And chords and melodies aside, I even like what they do rhythmically. I don't want to call it beatboxing, I don't know what to call it, but that thing, you all know what I'm talking about, that he does later, I loved it rhythmically. It had me bobbing my head. Great rhythms, great chord progressions, really cool melodies, interesting overall feel to the song. So I'm going to give this song's composition a 7.5 out of 10. That might not seem as high to you as you want it to be, but I consider 7.5 solid good. 8s, 9s, and 10s are some of the most incredible compositions you'll ever hear. This one was great, not quite up there. That's just my opinion though. Back to you, Francis.
A very special thank you to our expert for providing a music theory breakdown and giving the song's composition a very good, but not quite great, 7.5 out of 10. And now it's time to divide the song into 4 more categories, grading them each, averaging them out, and arriving at an overall score. Starting off with the category of production specifically, I'm inclined to give it a very rare 9 out of 10. If you've been a longtime subscriber, perhaps you saw that one coming. But I mean, really, what an exquisite production, especially for the genre that it's in. Usually, when I'm talking about the production of most metal songs, regardless of subgenre, it is pretty minimalistic, it is pretty basic, because in most cases, with bands like, say, Iron Maiden or perhaps Metallica, they do it that way on purpose so that it's easier to go and replicate live. Whereas with this one, it's definitely more of an intricate studio experience. Whether we're talking about the various transitions, whether we're talking about these sound effects subtly kind of layered in there, whether we're talking about the change up in drumming style, sometimes resembling a hip-hop beat, other times resembling more traditional metal, and everything in between, or whether we're talking about that part where he's not quite scatting, he's not quite beatboxing, but just that gibberish part where the production is going absolutely bonkers. The attention to detail in this song from a creative production standpoint is just surprising and impressive. Not what I was expecting whatsoever, especially with it being from 1998. I feel like it's easier to have a more complex production with today's technology. Regardless, top-notch, 9 out of 10. All right, up next we've got the category of lyrics, which I will be giving a great 8 out of 10. Are these lyrics absolutely poetic? Are they beautifully penned? Are they wonderfully written? Are they some of the best lyrics by any songwriter in the history of music, regardless of genre? No. But are they still great? Absolutely. Again, not to be a broken record, but I really was pleasantly surprised. I knew that the subject matter was going to be about the music industry and that it was probably going to be good. To be fair, even just the writing of the verses alone were more pretty and intentional than I was expecting. Even little details, and I love attention to details, such as, life's gotta always be messing with me, but then suddenly you hear them say, you wanna see the light, followed by, can't it chill and let me be free, with the subtle words, so do I, answering, you wanna see the light. That's just one small example, but given the context of what the lyrics are about, that all of a sudden makes so much sense, and the way it's done to where you almost wouldn't even notice is great in my opinion. I'll stop rambling, but again, not quite earth-shattering or amazing writing, but definitely better than just good writing, and so 8 out of 10. Moving on to the category of vocals specifically, I will be giving them a good 7 out of 10. I do want to make it clear, and I did ever so briefly kind of touch on it as I was listening to the song, but obviously didn't go in depth. But I want to make it clear that the vocals, obviously, with a song like this are not the point, nor are they supposed to be the star of the show. This is not Ronnie James Dio, this is not Stevie Wonder, this is not Aretha Franklin, this is not Jennifer Hudson, this is not Celine Dion, this is not Michael Jackson. So I totally get that. However, on this channel, some of the greatest vocal performances by anybody of any genre ever are going to be in the realm of a 9, a 9.5, or a 10. And so with a song like this, I don't think it was a bad vocal, I don't think it was a mediocre vocal, I do think it was a good vocal, but most certainly not even in the realm of an 8, which I would consider great. They were nice enough, he can sing decently enough, and don't get me wrong, I acknowledge the power that he has, but if we're talking about vocal skill, versatility, vocal runs, vibrato, falsetto, all the things, not quite there. And of course, that's okay, because that's not the point in the first place. Alright, arriving at our final category of originality, I'm inclined to give it a very great 8.5 out of 10. I don't mean to be redundant because, as mentioned many times throughout this video already, this song was surprisingly fresh and original and inspired and artistic. Adjectives that I really wasn't expecting to give it going into it. The subject matter of the lyrics, not to mention how well they were written. The composition for its genre being good enough, not quite great, but still. The production, in my opinion, being the most imaginative. Vocals, while not great, perfectly fitting for a song like this as well, aesthetically speaking. And to do this in 1998 as the subgenre of nu metal was really taking off. Not to mention the evident success and significance of this song. Are plenty of bad songs super significant and memorable nonetheless, of course, but this one obviously is remembered and awarded for good reason because it's great. And in my opinion, that does have to do with creating something original. And so for all of the aforementioned reasons, most certainly very great originality, just not quite earth-shattering or stellar like a Bohemian Rhapsody in the 70s, or a 14-minute prog rock masterpiece, or the score to Spirited Away by Joe Hisaishi. A few examples off the top of my head of what it would take to really be in that 9 to 10 category of originality. Either way, I do mean that as a compliment to this song. So now if we add it all up, including the expert's composition score, and average it out, Freak On A Leash by Korn from their third studio album titled Follow the Leader, released in 1998, gets an exact 8 out of 10. Truth be told, for all of the aforementioned reasons, I do feel like that number is a perfect reflection of this song. An 8 out of 10 is exactly great, and I do feel like this song is great. Certainly better than just good, and certainly not quite as amazing as amazing, and so there you have it. But again, that is just my own assessment, so in the comments down below, let me know if you think I am right on the money, batshit crazy, or somewhere in between, as well as what other songs by Korn or whoever else you would like for this channel to review next. As mentioned, if you are a fellow nerd for music, such as myself, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you'd like to support the work I put into these videos, you'll find various links in the description below. This has been another edition of Music Kingdom. Thank you so much for listening with me, and I look forward to jamming with you in the next one.